We're moving on now to our third speaker, our keynote speaker. And for those of you who met Naren yesterday during our afternoon panel, you might know him. For those who didn't, Naren Bakshi is a serial entrepreneur. And in 1992, Mr. Bakshi founded Versata, which later went public in 2000. Since 2000, he has been shuttling back and forth from the US and India, so he understands both markets quite well. He is currently the chairman of International Venture Group and also an angel investor and mentor to several startups. Now, he will be speaking about his experience with focusing on entrepreneurship and how best to start up your own business using technology as well. So I'm not too sure. We've got a slide up here. I'm not too sure which Naren we're going to meet. Is that the first one, or is that previous Naren and this is like the current Naren? So we're not sure. Why don't we invite Naren Bakshi on stage right now to see. Sir, that's a ton of weight that you've lost there. Congratulations.
So which is it on? Can you hear me? So which Naren do you like better? One on stage. So let me start by first saying that entrepreneurs are the people that can do anything once they make up their mind. And that is an example of what I did to myself, right? So make sure that you understand it is about passion. The other thing I want to say it is great to follow Joe Ratner and then Avnish. And then I realized I'd come prepared for entirely different presentation. But your conference people did such a good job of giving you so much information. And if you have not looked at it, here is one chart. Please make sure you go through it. Here is a technology history, right? Summarized for you. That will give you lots of insights. What does it have on it? It clearly shows when internet started, when eBay started 18 years ago, what happened 7 years ago in terms of first internet retailing conference in US 7 years ago. So Ashish, you're only 7 years behind US. We have $200 business there. We have 2 billion or less here. So we have long ways to go. And then of course, you heard about Apple. That's all here. You also have another book here written by Siddharth. Siddharth, you are around somewhere. Great job of summarizing e-commerce history in India. So that's already done for you. Can you give me a pointer, please? So what I'm going to focus on is entrepreneurship, technology, and how does that make a difference in terms of e-commerce? I would like to use this opportunity to share things that should inspire you. So let me ask you a raise of hand. How many of you are already in e-commerce today? So about half of you are already in e-commerce, right? How many of you are planning to be in e-commerce in next 1 year? Quite a few. And then how many of you are service providers to e-commerce? Great. So the point I'm trying to make is, it is very important, as Avnish just said to you, that times for people who are trying to start are absolutely great. And it is really true. But remember, in year 2000, we had a dot-com burst in US. So these cycles come and go. In fact, I remember, because my company went public in year 2000, everybody thought internet is dead. Internet was not dead. What was dead was the bubble, right? So we get excited about something too much, bhed chal, and then too much happens, you have to correct it. So in my case, as you can see from here, I have transformed myself from a professional to an entrepreneur, and now for the last 12 years, living in both countries, US and India. I do see many, many more opportunities for you around the world. Just to give you history, we talked about VCs here. In year 2000, I was part of the delegation that came from Silicon Valley, only two purposes, just two purposes. One says our laws were constraining venture capital. There was not even one VC in this country that was professional VC. Telecom was choking. The idea of mobile, the way we see it, wasn't there. Fortunately, efforts like that paved the way, and we have seen the difference. We also have had, you heard quite a bit about mentorship, seed investments. So there are 22 chapters of TIE around the country. There are incubators. So the opportunities that you have are phenomenal. Then there is a tremendous amount of interchange. Why is it moving? Tremendous amount of exchange happening between US and India. And it is just going to grow. I've been living this for the last 12 years, living in India and US, and the amount of collaboration that is going on with Obama's re-election again is going to just accelerate because of the self-interest of both countries. And in technology, in e-commerce, there's so many models between the two countries. Outsourcing, companies start here, then they go there. Somebody from there says, I want to go and live with my parents. They come back and create a company. Some people go from here saying that I've already done the technology development, my market is in US. They go back, so on and on and on. So it's just phenomenal opportunity. So I told you about the VC history. It's clear that VCs also go through ups and downs, right? So $1 billion investment, it might become $500 million, but VCs are human beings. They also go into bhed jal, right? They get excited about a market, as Avnish was saying, they're not thinking where the profit is going to come from, and then they get discouraged, they go through that cycle. But entrepreneurs, just like you heard from Joe Ratner, they don't give up. They just don't give up. And because they don't give up, they succeed. And if one thing fails, they do it again, as Joe said to you this morning, and that's absolutely. Now, what I want to do is give you a sense of why should you even consider becoming an entrepreneur. The entrepreneurship is about what? Creating value. Entrepreneurs are the people that may not have inherited a penny from their parents. They start with nothing and they are able to create something. It is about innovation. Fame comes with it, but that's not the motivation. It does come, right? Who doesn't know Steve Jobs? Of course. Without begging, without asking from anybody. So TIE that I have belonged to, I've been a global trustee for 64 chapter, chairman. We have never said, ever, that making money is bad. In fact, that's what killed India for so long. We started to think socialism and thought businessmen were bad. I'm saying creating money, creating wealth is great as long as you're ready to also give back as a social entrepreneur when you create the wealth. Let me also tell you what entrepreneurship is not about. It's not about a power game, guys. And one of the things that I have learned, and please make sure if any one of you are seeking money from outside your family, the minute you have taken VC money, the minute you have taken angel money, minute you have taken PE money, minute you have taken money from anybody, remember, it's not your company alone. And that's one of the biggest difficulties many companies face. They take money and they think it's my company and I want to control it. Absolutely. If you want to control, don't take somebody else's money. Don't make them your partners. VCs become your partners, and they have to find exit. It's not like your own money that for 50 years you can keep on having fun, and then what would VC do? So you'll be in conflict. So VC money is great money, angel money is great money, if you want to create something bigger than what you can do alone. So it's not about permanent job either. You heard Steve Jobs was fired. You heard Joe Retner was fired. So it's okay. It's okay. So just think, if I created a $1 billion company and I only have 5% stake in it, just 5%, right? It's not my company, but is that not satisfying? Or you may want to control it forever and you may never become more than 5 million, right? It's your choice, right? In the Valley, we call a word called founderitis. How many of you have heard that word in India? What happens is, I'm a founder and I want to control it forever, and that's a disease. That's what we think. So let me tell you about Versada's story. Versada was something that I had started. I will give you a very brief rundown. At a very late age, I was 48 years old. I had 3 kids, and it was really, honestly, association with other people. I had gone to US in 1966. A good friend of mine, Mr. Somai, who was my classmate, is here. Can you stand up, please? So we were together at Berkeley. We were in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley didn't exist the way we know it now. I got a great opportunity to work in big companies. I moved to Cleveland, Ohio. And there, I was in big companies. I was CIO, I was executive, I was this, that. But there was no opportunity in that city of entrepreneurship. No VCs, no nothing. So naturally, if I don't find anything, I tried once or twice, didn't work. But it was lucky break, I went back to Silicon Valley. And there, the association, the culture, and so on, allowed me to think in that direction. So the reason I'm mentioning this is, you're in Mumbai. It's a great place right now. There are only 3, 4, 5 cities in India where you have tremendous opportunities, right? So here, you have great opportunity to start from whatever level you want to start and move on. Now, you create a company, and then you have to say, what do I want to do next? That's your choice. Nothing wrong in picking any choice. Many people, once they've created their company, take it public, they accumulate some wealth, they become venture capitalists. They invest, like Avnish is a part of the matrix, right? You can become serial entrepreneur, create a second company, create a third company. That's a choice. You can then also become part of many, many companies, right? Why? Because it's exciting to be able to work with younger people, to advise them, to guide them. So what takes me most these days is when I'm able to work with younger people that give me a lot of energy, lot of new information, lot of excitement, and I see them flourish. That's a choice. And then, of course, you can become a social entrepreneur, feel good about changing the world. So the reason I'm mentioning this is, in VC money, in angel money, there are only 2 outcomes that are meaningful. Third one is dying. And that is, you can clearly say that someday, somewhere, I would have created enough value for somebody else, so that they want to acquire me for good money, right? That's the only other thing which doesn't happen as often as we would like, is the company goes public, right? So as you take money from anybody, remember, you'll have to go through this route. With this, let me, if there is any one thing I want to leave you with, is this 5 steps to succeed. Now let me tell you what it means. I've never seen any company start unless founders had lots and lots of passion. So that is given. Unless it is right in your belly, you should not start, right? So that's given. So Avnish mentioned about persistence. That's important. It doesn't happen overnight. The third one is where things start getting difficult. You may be passionate about your idea, but if you cannot convince other people to join you as employees, as board members, as investors, you're not going to succeed. The fourth one is equally important. You heard this morning. You have to understand the climate for next 12 months. The climate may be too tight money for Series A. You have to figure out how would I survive for 12, 18 months, change my business model, move on. But at the end of the day, what do you have to create? Profitability. So can you repeat with me? What are the 5 P's? First one, second one, third one, fourth one, and fifth one. Don't ever forget the last. .coms happen that way. So e-tailing will die because of that, if there is any company that doesn't do that. Now this one I don't have to say. There's enough data, any place, you can look at any place. The technology, especially if you look at Silicon Valley, is just accelerating. We are not, I mean, just think, if I just told you that I have seen and figured out what a driverless car is. The driverless cars are running in US, running in Silicon Valley, running in Nevada. And just think what the world would be when there was no driver. You just sit in your car and just say, go home. And car takes you home. It is happening today. So there are not 1, 2, 3, 20 examples that I've seen in the last 12 months. This, I don't have to say much. Even today, it's only 5% of US economy that's online. And nobody says that it won't be 25%. So even US has 5 times more to go. So where are we? We are what? Not even percent, right? So we have long ways to go. I don't have to go through this much because you've seen this, but I do want to encourage you to go and read these good stuff that you have gotten at the conference. Big breakthroughs are good to understand and learn from. It is good for you to go and read the history of Amazon, eBay, HP, Dell, and try to understand why they became big. So make sure, whether they are in India, like Baji you heard, like Flipkart, learn from them. So with this, what I want to tell you is that I'm very, very excited to be able to come here, to be able to see this first e-tailing conference that you have all witnessed, just like it happened 7 years ago in USA, and am interested in working with anybody that has some proven model that can be scaled up. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. New models don't go nationwide, worldwide, overnight. What should you do? Pilot, right? Pilot in one corner, pilot in one city, pilot in one idea. I told you about some examples yesterday. A company, Poshmark, that I mentioned to you, got focused on one simple thing. Focus what? They came up with mobile, you heard that? It only runs on mobile, and that too on what? iPhone. So they perfected that thing repeatedly. They raised $4 million first round, and excitement was so high because it was working on that thing. They got $12 million more to take it everywhere, right? So the point I'm trying to make is experiment, perfect. You heard enough about example of saying best service, best product is what's going to win in the future. And if you do that, Long term, there's no question you'll succeed. So with that, I want to really, really thank all of you to take this time, and I'll be around all day today and tomorrow. I'm very, very delighted also to see the young team, Mr. Jalani and Amit and Ashish and Siddharth, do what they have done in a short period of time. Thank you.